Welcome to Glocal Voices, the official podcast of the Center for Socially Engaged Theatre at the University of Regina.
Well, hello and welcome again to Glocal Voices live at the IDIERI 2025 at the University of British Columbia in Vancouver. My name is Taiwo Afolabi and I'm hosting Glocal Voices from the Center for Socially Engaged Theatre. And of course, as part of IDIERI 2025 and part of Festival of Arts and Discourse, we're doing something new. We're speaking to arrays of researchers who have come to be part of IDIERI 2025. And in this episode, I'm talking to Kevin Hobbs, and I know Kevin is going to introduce himself more. But we're hoping that in our next 15 minutes-ish, that we're going to be talking about how the play building methodology has grown through mirror theater and how mirror theater has grown through play building. So, Kevin, you want to introduce yourself?
I will.
Good to see you.
Yeah.
And in person, finally.
In person, finally. Yeah. So, Kevin Hobbs is my name. I am an applied theater artist, actor, director, writer. I work in Toronto, Canada. I also work in St. Catharines, Ontario, which is near Niagara Falls, for those of you who may not know. A lot of people don't. And that's where Brock University is. So I teach at Brock University. And I'm also president of Mirror Theatre. So Mirror Theatre, arts-based, educational, research, not-for-profit company. When we do lots of different projects, people come to us and we create whatever it is. And then we have a website that we put we video it, we put it all on the website as an open source.
That's right.
Because our philosophy is that we need to have dialogue, we need to have the conversation. And so it's not about possessing and saying we have the knowledge. So that's what I do. And this is the organization I work with.
Amazing. So, Kevin, you wear so many hats, and that's why I always want people to introduce themselves.
Yeah.
Your connection to the university, your connection to Mirror Theatre, your connection to other international networks like you mentioned earlier on.
Yeah.
Play building methodology. Do you want to speak more to that and how these your multiple hats and positionalities really connect to all of this?
Yeah, okay. So play building methodology. So a lot of people use the term play building. So we're using the term in a very particular way.
Yes.
All the other ways are fine as well. But I'm following the path of Dr. Joe Norris, who wrote a book on play building as method. And I've been working with him for a number of years, and we actually published a new book in 2024, Play Building's Arts-Based Research. And we're talking, and in both of these books, they talk about the work that Mirror Theatre does in order to create, to devise theater scenes. And I think this is an important thing to note with play building methodology. When we start devising, we work on a particular topic and we come up with short scenes. The scenes could be 30 seconds long. Some of them are 10 seconds long. Some of them are 2 minutes, 5 minutes. It really depends on the creative act that's taking place, which is based on the research methodology. And as I said, then we film them and then we put them up there. One of the things about mirror theater, and I want to make that connection between mirror theater and play building right now, because they're not tied at the hip, but they're pretty close. Mirror Theatre was a company created by Joe Norris, and now I've come in as the president. And Mirror Theatre has a standing cast. So they're all volunteers. I'm a volunteer as well with Mirror Theatre. Mm-hmm. And we do this because we like to do this. Mm-hmm. Some of the cast members are students. Some of them are faculty members at Brock University and outside of Brock University. And we just want to create, share, whatever is devised, putting it out there. This, having a standing cast, for us is really important because Every time you come together with a new group and you start creating things, you have to start
from
creating
the scratch,
the trust. You start from scratch. You have to, yeah.
It's a lot of work.
It's a lot of work, and it's wonderful work when it really does click. We can do a lot of shortcutting with that, and so and people will bring their own ideas and say, yeah, I knew you were going to go there, which is a great thing. And then we can work much more closely together to create something. So how has this affected play building?
Yeah.
It has, because a lot of play building, certainly in the two books, is, how do we create that trust? So we don't have to worry about that as much in the way we do play building right now. Here's the other thing. Because we trust one another, people are bringing in other things, other methodologies other than play building. Let's say verbatim theater.
That's right.
For example. There's also able theater. So that's we're layering the arts based. So someone will come in with an artistic piece and say, okay, let's build off of that artistic piece. So that's a little bit different too. They'll be really hard to do if we didn't have that standing cast.
Interesting. Do you have an example of a project that you've done so many projects, and maybe a recent project that you want to highlight?
Yeah. Okay, a couple, but I'm going to.
Well, your favorite?
My favorite. Okay, you know what I'm going to talk about? I'm going to talk about the one we're doing right now.
Okay.
So that's been funded by the New Frontiers Fund, and so we're looking at a bias in the healthcare system, and we're particularly focused on during COVID, what happened. We know a lot of equity deserving people during COVID were hit hard by just the treatment by people in the healthcare system. We went out and we asked those questions to various groups, and through the interviews got some transcripts, and then with their permission, always with the participant, with their consent, we came back together and we started creating some things. So the two leads on this, Sheila O'Keefe McCarthy and Val Michelson, they did some writing of poems, putting the poems together. So then they brought those to Mirror Theatre. And Mirror Theatre, we started building off of that artwork to the next theater piece that it's been so much fun. As well, we also work from the transcripts, straight from the transcripts. And it's not verbatim necessarily, unless it needs to be verbatim. We work a lot with metaphor, etc. And we come up with these short scenes. And some of it's been tough. Some of the stories have been brutal to hear and listen, but necessary to tell.
Some years ago, I wrote a co-authored a chapter in a book, Devising as Research, myself and I'm trying to remember her name now, my lovely Laura. I think the name is going to come back to me.
Right.
But we're talking about devising as a research method.
Yeah.
And I wonder how would you differentiate play building methodology from devising?
Devising, for us, devising is part of the play building methodology. So maybe it's the easiest way to do is just to describe how we start off in our. So we have our group of let's say 10 people. We have the topic. We know what we want to talk about, and we just have that dialogue with one another. Dialogue is, if anything, is the foundation of what we do. What do you think of this? What do you think of this? And we have a system. We'll write a card system, recipe cards. Throw the cards in the middle. And then we've got ideas.
Gotcha.
What do we want to do? So we take them. Okay. Who likes this particular idea? And then people will head off together and work it. And then we might have 5 groups going off in different ways. Often I'm the director, but in so many ways I'm not that kind of director. Never have been. I'm a facilitator. Yeah, even when working in non-research theater and some of the more mainstream theater, I've always been. What do you think? Okay, let's work through this together. So people then will come back, And then we will show us your thing. Let's go, okay, that's great. Let's try something a little bit different here. And slowly the scene builds. And we can do this over a series of weeks. Mirror Theatre meets every week for 2 hours. So then we just reiterate over there's an iteration that takes place. That's our way to devise until we think this is not bad.
Yeah, amazing. My final question here, because we need to let you go, or else we're going to talk about it for another 2 hours. We're in IDIERI, and for us also at the Center for Social Engaged Theatre, and of course the festival that we're running, what's really critical, part of what is important for us to think about is not just only the intersection of drama and any other thing, but also think about how these things, these methods are not just only for dissemination, but as a research method itself. So based on what you're doing with play building methodology at Mirror Theatre and other spaces, what are some of those things that we can glean from play building methodology that can help researchers to think about what they're doing in terms of their research, in terms of their methodology, in terms of the curriculum they're building, in terms of the community they're working with, but within the context of research?
Okay. The way I've always, I speak about play building, I think about it is, even with that idea of dissemination. So the dissemination is, hello audience, here you are, this is what we've done.
That's right.
Then we engage in forum theater, and so it's a lot of dialogue. Through that dialogue, that's a continuation of research. So we never stop, even though we present this as, this is an educational workshop, we never present it as, this is the end result.
That's right.
You will learn from this. So what we hope is through the dialogue, we've had our dialogue as Mirror Theatre cast. Now it's the time for us to have the dialogue with you. And we hope that you can glean something from this. We have no idea ultimately what you're going to glean. I will be there as the joker, the facilitator, and I will say, interesting point. I might highlight something. You mentioned, well, what can you do? What can you take away in terms of for curriculum, etc. I know people have taken things away and said, that was really a good idea that person in the audience said. So they're not getting it from us, they're getting it from other people as well. And so if anything in terms of play building that you can take away from that is you're always learning, you're always finding out, you're always digging deeper. And that's the continuation. Never, you always think you need to come to the end point. No.
This is interesting. I also find that the play that you end up presenting to audience is meant to be like a prompt, like an inquiry, like a research question for a researchy language. And you're saying, hey, we're inviting you into conversation, into dialogue.
Absolutely. Any scene that we do, what I will say when we get to that point where we think we're pretty close here, that's something I will often do as the director. I'll say, what's the question we're asking? If we answer the question for the audience, if we have the resolution, that typical resolution, then what exactly? So I always like to leave the audience with a question of some sort, and I have no idea because they're all going to come up with different. No, I didn't understand that. I didn't understand that. They all have their different questions, but there's something there. If we give them any resolution whatsoever, then in many ways, as researchers and as educators, I feel we failed.
Interesting. Well, thank you so much, Kevin.
Yeah.
Really beautiful, and I also love the way you and Joe, you've also documented the process. That's really remarkable. We've been talking to Joe Hobbs from Mirror Theatre and Brock University in St. Catharines in Ontario, Canada. Really looking to just a snapshot of play building methodology in Mirror Theatre and how that really shaped the applied theatre work that Kevin and the entire crew and really do in Mirror Theatre, at Mirror Theatre, and of course at the university. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you very much. It's great.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You have been listening to Glocal Voices, the official podcast of the Center for Socially Engaged Theatre at the University of Regina. For more details about the center, visit www.cset.ca.